Live from Orlando, Florida, you're listening to the Orlando Magic HQ podcast, the voice of Magic fans. Join us every week for a unique fan perspective on all of the latest Magic news and updates. The show starts now.
What's up, Magic fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Orlando Magic HQ podcast, brought to you by DraftKings and part of the Basketball Podcast Network. We're your hosts, Al, myself, Anthony. Today is March 31st, and man, dude, it's been 2 weeks since we had an episode. Like, what is going on?
It's been a minute, man. I think it's the longest we've gone without recording, and since the offseason, I think. It
feels like longer, man. I'll be honest with you. It feels like it's been a month and a half. I struggled connecting all the cords back. If we're being 100% honest, none of this was my fault. I blame Al 100%. The first week that we missed, it was because the Dominican Republic lost to the Puerto Rican team in baseball, and somebody was a little butthurt. And then the following week, you were on vacation. You decided to travel to the Dominican Republic, right?
No. So that was actually a cruise with my in-laws.
Cruise, that's right.
We did Bahamas. We did Belize.
The same in-laws that doesn't like Mo Bamba.
Exactly. There you go. That's it. So her saying that to me last year, I couldn't say no when she invited me to a cruise to celebrate their anniversary. I'm like, I'm gonna miss the podcast, but man, you were right about Mo Bamba, so I got to do this.
Yeah. But man, we've missed. I feel like we've missed a lot of things. Like we got a lot of stuff to kind of catch up on and discuss. We're heading towards the very, very end of the season, and I feel like we're on the verge of a Magic civil war. Like the fan base, you got half that's all about win as many games as possible. I don't care if we don't make the play-in. Let's keep that momentum. And then you got the other half that's kind of like, dude, man, this is, we need to start sending out Franz. We need to start sending out, whoever, and, put ourselves in a better position, for the NBA draft. Like even Franz Wagner, got semi-hurt, during the game, and, we was questionable for the next game. And my man still, like Iron Man, is playing, hurt, mid-game, and he disappears and then he's back on the floor. So if there's one thing that I can honestly say about this team that I appreciate, is the fact that there's no shenanigans right now, bro. Like they're out there trying to win games, and they don't care. Like if we're not going to get in there, then we're going to be disruptors. And this team is sitting at 32-44, 13th in the Eastern Conference, and we're over 10 games, plus 10 games from last year, and that is a hell of an achievement. No matter your feelings about Coach Mose, bravo to you, sir. No matter your feelings on kind of how this year has unraveled, from injuries in the beginning of the season, not having a point guard, finally getting Markelle Fultz back from a toe injury that he stubbed during the offseason, from Jalen Suggs not really playing great basketball, to Jonathan Isaac being out for as long as he was, and then finally coming back and then getting re-injured and missing him. Like, if there's one thing that you can say about the season, is that it was a roller coaster. There's a lot of highs, there's a lot of lows. And for us to be at a position where we're saying legit, we've won 32 games, it's great, because the beginning of the season was tough. And for us to still be able to kind of finish it out, I think it's great. So in today's episode, we are going to break down some of the high notes that we haven't been able to discuss. The whole Rookie of the Year race right now, I can't believe that this is even a topic. I don't understand why this is a debate. It's really the writers that are out there that are creating this narrative, because all these sports commentators, they'll say, there's improvements from this dude in OKC, but it's Paolo's still the clear front runner. But we'll talk more about that in a little bit, and then we'll get some updates on some of the other rumblings that we've been hearing. But other than that, bro, talk to me. We've just kind of speak on the maintenance a little bit. We were fortunate enough to be able to have Michael Carter Williams interview with our writer Luke, which is a fantastic article. But man, yeah, if we can touch base on that a little bit before we move forward, that'd be great.
Yeah, so I mean, if you haven't seen it yet, if you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, any of our social media accounts, you've probably seen it already. But a great job by Luke, who got to sit down via Zoom with Michael Carter Williams. And if you guys remember, a couple of years back, we had him on the podcast. So he's been amazing with us from day one. So this time was a little bit different. It was more about finding out, hey, where have you been? What's been going on? How are you doing health-wise? And just catch up on where he's been with the Magic and where he thinks he's headed. But the key takeaway, as the title says it, Orlando is his home going forward. So we've heard that from Terrence Ross. We've heard that now from MCW. So again, a trend of players that come to Orlando and want to stay in Orlando. If you have a moment and you have some time, head over to OrlandoMagicHQ.com. Please read the article because, again, Luke did a hell of a job. We're actually going to have him next week on the podcast, talking a little bit more about the background, how that happened, what else he found out that maybe he didn't put out there on the article. But a great piece. Thank you for all the fans that have read it, that have commented, replied, liked it, retweeted it. Again, an amazing job. I'm glad that it's kind of the momentum that it has because, again, a lot of work went into it, not only to make it happen, but to actually create the piece of art that Luke came up with. So, again, check it out. And again, Luke, I know you're listening to this. Big shout outs to you for the amazing job that you did.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Luke. Shout out to Michael Carter. Shout out to everyone that has, took the time to read that article and give us your feedback, man. We definitely appreciate every single one of you. On that note, man, let's transition. So earlier today, I posted out a tweet that I thought was, it was interesting to hear the feedback, from the fan base where I asked, there's a meme photo from, the movie Tangled that Kevin Durant utilized as his default picture for a really, really long time. In essence, is the main dude having a whole bunch of swords pointing at him. And the whole idea behind this meme is really finding out, like, what is your hottest take of the Orlando Magic that would put you in a position where people are taking out their swords ready to attack you, right? And man, people were vocal. And I've seen some really wild hot takes, some really wild. I'm going to read off some of the few that kind of stood out to me. We can kind of discuss one or two here or there, but real quick, man, what is your hottest take when it comes to the Orlando Magic? Again, man, this is one of those things where, as sports fans, people are passionate, and when people are passionate, people have those really strong ideas that, they're not willing to get off that island. They're going to stick on that island, and not many people would agree with those said topics. But what would be your biggest hot take when it comes to this team?
So I had two that I was debating about posting. The one that I did post, and I basically quote tweeted that tweet, and I said, Markelle Fultz is the point guard of the future of the Orlando Magic. That was my hot take. I know some people say when he's shooting and Markelle is everything but a shooter. I don't care, man. The way this kid runs the offense, in my opinion, is the closest thing to like a Chris Paul type of point guard. Yeah, his three-point shooting has never been amazing for Chris Paul, but the mid-range is deadly. He organizes the floor so well, and he's truly the definition of a playmaker. And I think that Markelle is definitely that. Three-point shooting is getting better. So in my opinion, I'm going to ride that. And that's my hot take. My other one was, which I was a little bit on the fence about, like, do I post this or the Markelle one? It was, we don't need a second or first start, like a star player. Like, we're thinking about Luka or whoever it may be. It was Paolo and Franz are here, build around them. That was basically my second one, which I'm sharing with you guys here. I didn't put it out there publicly. What about you? What you got?
I mean, would you consider those really hot takes? I agree with both of them, and it might just be because we talk about Orlando Magic basketball way more often than we should. So we're on the most part about 80% of the things that we discuss we pretty much agree on. But Markelle Fultz, man, I don't understand why people are so like not believing that he's the future. Like, doesn't matter who you draft in this draft. There's it's not like we're point guard heavy in this draft anyways, but it doesn't matter who it is that you like. They're not going to take Markel's spot. Markel is way too advanced. He is someone that has really blown up this season. He's shown that he is a baller. This whole bust thing that a lot of the Philadelphia 76ers fans were kind of throwing out there, a couple seasons ago, that's all out the window. Like, nobody wants to see Markel Fultz. Markel Fultz is clearly a difference maker for this team, because the difference of the Orlando Magic with Markel and without Markel is drastic. We're a way better basketball team with Markel, on the floor running the point guard position. And let's be honest, man, before Markel Fultz, we're holding on to DJ Augustine as our, quarterback of this team, man. And to kind of see where we're at, why are people complaining about Markel Fultz? I get the shooting, but here's the interesting thing about Markel Fultz, right? We know that he's not a great three-point shooter, but not one time have I ever read anyone complain about his shooting. Like, nobody's saying, oh my God, why did you take that shot? Oh, this dude needs to stop shooting. Like, there's no negative comment. If anything, people are like, man, just shoot it.
You know what it is?
The majority of the fan base, they're okay with him shooting that jump shot, knowingly that he's not the greatest three-point shooter.
You know what it is? He doesn't force it. He's not going to drive in traffic and pull up from three with a guy in his face. Like, he's going to take a wide open look. And if you look at the numbers, yeah, he's not taking a big number of threes per game, but he's making them, man. As long as he's close to that 30% mark, I'm okay with that. And guess what? That mid-range shot that he used to only make between 10 to 15 feet, he's now making in that 15 to 20 range. So I truly believe that one more summer of him being healthy, he can develop the three-point shot a bit better next year. I really believe that. So the only complaint is that it's the three-point shooting that we have with him. That's why I believe we got to add shooting to this team badly, not only through the draft, free agency, whichever way you can. Just get shooters, because if you have Markel on the floor, maybe being a liability, find guys that are not liabilities from three-point range that can make him shine even more. I don't see why you would want to move from him unless he gets hurt again, which God forbid that happens. I mean, that's the last thing we want to see. That's the only way I could see us maybe saying, all right, we got to move on. But other than that, I mean, the kid is what? How old is Markel right now? 23, 24 still?
I think he's 25, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he's 25. Look that up
real quick, because I'm just like, again, he's way too young, man, to be a kid that you say, enough of him. He cannot develop. He cannot get better. He is, 24 years old.
24. There you go.
So, I mean, too young still to give up. So, in my opinion, man, I don't see why you would want to move up from him. There's people that say, go after Van Fleet, go after a better shooter out there in the point guard position. I don't know, man. Those guys are not going to make us a contender next season, in my opinion. That's just the way I see it. But what about you? What is your hot take?
My hot take, which is probably I'm the only one that would be on this island. Nobody would agree with me. I don't even think you would agree with me. This is the other 20% that we would be different on.
I'm excited.
Man, I am still, like, till this day, and I don't care what anybody feels or says. You want to tell me I'm wrong in the comments, feel free to do so. But man, I'm still high. I would love to have Dwight Howard back. I personally would love to have Dwight Howard back on this team. I would. This man right now is absolutely balling in Thailand, right? Not saying that has anything to do with NBA play, but if there's one thing that I've noticed is, man, he's having fun playing basketball again, and competition isn't the greatest, I would imagine, out there compared to his level, his stature. But if there's two things that I feel the Magic really need to address, has been rebounding, shooting, of course, but also rim protection. Like, I really believe that Dwight could help in those circumstances. Like, you're talking about his last season with the Lakers, on 16.2 minutes a game, he averaged six rebounds a game. The prior year, off of 17 minutes, 8.4 rebounds. So this is someone that would go out there, and for a fact that he's not expecting to start. He's not expecting to be the guy. All we need him to do is be out there, be a big player, grab rebounds, and protect the rim, and that's something that I think that he's able to do. I don't even care if it's a third string. I don't care if he doesn't play at all, to be 100% honest with you. I would love for there to be some type of, Cinderella storybook ending with the Orlando Magic and Dwight Howard at some point being in good standings, because when it comes down to it, in my opinion, he's one of the players that has done the absolute most for this franchise. And it's good, it's bad, it's ugly, it's all the above. We all know that. And you're gonna have people that still to this day they hate him. And I'm at the point where I was that guy. I hated him for a while. I was hurt. At the same time, I'm over it, man. I'm wish him nothing but the best. One of my favorite, moments as a Magic fan has been, during those eras, and they were really, really great times. I would love to see Dwight Howard in some capacity right now, today, in the future, whenever, for there to be some type of reconciliation. Because if the Magic were able to do it with Shaq, there's no reason why they can't do it with Dwight.
Yeah, I mean, I would be okay with that as a third string center. I say that at the end of the locker room. That's really the only way. Other than that, seeing the floor for the Magic. Let me ask you this, and we'll talk about him later in the episode. Goga or Dwight? Who you rather have? I'll take
Dwight. I'll take Dwight, man. I'm not fully sold. Like I think Goga is great. I think he's young. I think there's potential. I think that it would give it would force Mo Wagner to kind of be on his toes a little bit, because there'll be moments where we've already seen it, where Mo is taking the back seat and we're seeing more Goga. Like we've seen it. I think from a character standpoint, if you haven't already, man, I can't think of the name, but Dwight Howard was on the TV show, reality TV show, where they had to go through it was a celebrity military show, whole bunch of different celebrities that, every episode they have to go through different trials and tribulations and a whole bunch of stuff. And you really get to see Dwight Howard in his, mature personality that, not many people are able to see anymore. I haven't seen in a long time. And I think that if people took a time to see him in a different perspective, see him in a different light, maybe they might be a little more open to bringing him back. Not that that's something that he wants or needs to do. But let's be honest, man. If there's one thing that we've learned, when players come to Orlando and they stay here for a little while, no matter what happens, man, they always consider Orlando home. And that goes for MCW, that goes for Shaq, that goes for Dwight, that goes for whoever, man. They Orlando and home somehow, cements in these people's hearts and minds for a lot of people.
Listen, I don't think it's a hot take. In my opinion, I think that a lot of people want to see him come to Orlando. You're not the only one, but if you are one of those, reply to us. Leave it in the comments. Let us know what you think about Dwight coming to Orlando at age 37. Let's see.
Yeah. And then my last one, since you added two, my last one is, man, Cole Anthony is a lot better than what people think. I don't think Cole Anthony is a six man.
Facts.
That's my hot take. No one's going to agree with me there. But the Orlando Magic, PR, they came out with a very interesting stat where they talked about how Cole Anthony has scored 682 points off the bench just this season. That would put him 4th in the Eastern Conference and 8th in the NBA. You're talking about someone that is, very, very close. We're talking about we're talking about 6th man of the year, caliber performances. The issue with Cole Anthony has always been, consistency. There's been a lot of ups, a lot of downs. There's moments where, he's on fire. There's moments where he's kind of, not where we're used to seeing him. When I say that he's not a 6 man, maybe not so much for, the Orlando Magic, because when it comes to Markelle and Cole Anthony, you're still going to go with, Markelle. We know that Markelle is a better facilitator, but let's be honest. We know that Markelle Fultz is not the healthiest. We've had issues with him since he's been here. And if something were to happen, I feel comfortable and confident with Cole Anthony stepping in, at least until Markelle gets back. But man, who knows? Maybe there's another team out there that would treat him and respect him as a starting caliber. I mean, honestly, there's moments where I'm even, hoping that, we see him start at the 2 guard, just because he brings that fire punch offensively. And Markelle is big enough to where I believe it might work.
I think what I do like the most he's doing is he's playing the 3-guard rotation where sometimes you see Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, and Markelle out there, or Gary Harris for that matter. And I think that works out really well. I think Cole Anthony's playing more than 30 minutes a night right now, even though he's coming off the bench. So I think no matter what, whether he's going to be a starter off the bench, he's still going to get plenty of minutes. And I think that's the way the Magic have convinced him to take on this role. It's like, hey, you are going to come off the bench, but you're going to play the same exact minutes as a starter in this league. And as long as that continues, I'm happy because since the All-Star break, he's been extremely consistent. And I think that's what we need to see from Cole Anthony. If that can continue, dude, like you got to keep playing him. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Yep. But a lot of really, really interesting hot takes. Just to kind of read off of a few that I see on here, just for laughs and giggles. We got Wendell is not our future center. We need a rim protector. I got someone saying Cole Anthony should be a starter next to Fultz. Got another guy saying it's time to bring back Dwight Howard. I see you, man.
Is that you?
Huh? No, it's not me. I got someone else saying that Franz needs to not compete in international ball this summer and work on improving his game instead. He should be averaging closer to 5 rebounds and 5 assists right now. He's good, but there are things that he could be better at. And what's really great about that one is that, in my opinion, that's not too much of a hot take. I do believe that his international play has made him a better basketball player. But even recently, he stated that, if there's one thing that he wants to improve on is his rebounding, which the whole team needs to improve on the rebounding. It's one of our struggles. Someone else says we need more time, but I think we're one piece away to be a solid contender. I'll trade everybody not named Paolo or Franz for JB, which I'm assuming that stands for Jaylen Brown. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a few. Jonathan Isaac becomes a sought-after trade asset after playing a near defensive player of the year level next year. Put Franz in a package for Jaylen Brown as soon as possible. That's a super hot take. That's a lonely island right there. And then we'll read one more. Bobo's defense has improved a lot recently. If he improves consistently in that area, he can be an important factor for us. But he needs playing time for that. So I'm surprised you didn't see more Bobo hot takes. I'll be honest with you. That was a surprise.
I'm okay with giving him the summer to keep working and keep developing himself. First, I think healthy offseason in a while for him also. But, man, he's got to improve big time on defense. He just does not compete on that side of the floor.
Yeah, but, man, I appreciate everyone that participated in that hot takes, man. If you're listening to this podcast on YouTube, make sure you put in the comments where your hot takes are. I mean, we would love to read those. But, man, summer of the week. We've been gone for 2 weeks. We've missed 9 games. We didn't miss it. We watched the games. We didn't miss it. We just haven't talked about it. But in that 9-game stretch, we're 5-4 record during that span. The playing chances are kind of still there, barely holding on to a thread with 6 games remaining. And we are 4 games back of the Chicago Bulls as of today. So, man, tell me, talk to me. When it comes to this playing, are you for the Civil War side where the Magic should be winning as many games as possible? Are you on the flip side where, man, we should probably start focusing on the lottery?
So I will tell you, man, like it's 50-50, right? But in my opinion, if the team is competing, Paolo said it himself, like, hey, you guys think we're tanking? And then Markelle retweeted it. I'm on the same boat, man. Like, I want to see this team compete. If the final outcome is that we lose the game, then so be it. But if they're playing hard, they're competing, they're doing their best out there, they're winning games, I'm going to enjoy it, man. Like, I know they've won 32 games so far. My magic number, honestly, is 35. If some way, somehow they can manage to win 35 games, that would be a massive, massive improvement. I personally don't think we're going to out-tank the Blazers in particular. They're just not even carrying it. They're not even trying anymore. They're just rolling out there a bunch of dudes that nobody knows anymore. So in my opinion, man, just enjoy the games. That's my takeaway. Like, just enjoy the games, watch the games, and root for these guys. At the end of the day, we cannot control the lottery, unfortunately. I know guys out there want the Magic to tank and to, like you mentioned earlier, Franz has gotten hurt a couple of times. Just shut him down for the season. Cool. If that's your mindset, I that's fine. But in my opinion, just watch the team, enjoy this last 6 games, and win as many as possible. That's my opinion. What about yours?
Dude, I think that 35 is a very, very reachable number. When you take a look at the teams that we have coming up, we got the Wizards that they're playing Friday night. We got Detroit, followed by Cleveland again, Brooklyn, and then Miami. The Wizards, I think it's 100% a must-win game. You know, the Wizards were here in Orlando. Bradley Beal, I'm not sure if you saw the news on that, but apparently he's being investigated by Orlando Police Department for allegedly knocking off someone's hat that was complaining about, missing. I guess he didn't perform well enough to be able to, hit on his gambling, on his betting. But, this is a must-win game against the Wizards. This is a team that, is ahead of us right now in the rankings. Detroit, on paper, must-win game. This is a team that is, below us in every single capacity, roster, talent, level of play, you name it. And then Cleveland, man, I think these two teams here they're ready for the playoffs, man. They're already clinched for the playoffs. I don't see, Donovan Mitchell putting too much effort in there. I'm not sure. Have they shut them down yet? They haven't. They need to.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Yeah, it might still be too early, but I think 35 games is definitely achievable. And again, I said it earlier, plus 10 right now. If you're looking to get to that 35, that's plus 13. That's a massive improvement. So I think that the most important thing is there needs to be confidence for this team. There needs to be a level of momentum. That's why it's so important for them to come out here and try to win as many games as possible. If they did everything in their power to make it into the play-in, and they set the standard of, okay, where this season we hit 35 wins, what do you think is the expectations for next season? Next season, the floor is 35 wins. From there, I want to see another plus 12, plus 13 wins from there. I want to see us in the mid 45s. Like I would get me anywhere in the mid 40s. At that point, it's really a battle. There's expectations, because even if you're a tanker right now, every single tanker that there is, anybody that's out there saying, I want to lose as many games as possible because I want to be in a better draft position, you're also with the same mindset that this is the last time that we're tanking. And we're not even tanking. This is the last time that we're paying attention to the draft lottery, to the draft like that. Because at that point, whoever it is that you draft, you're hoping that it's just like an added player, an added role player. You're looking at, bringing in a Courtney Lee type of impact. And I think that, the fact that we're at that point, it's a great feeling to have as an Orlando Magic fan. But if you're looking at where we're at percentage wise when it comes to the lottery, I'm not willing to sacrifice telling, our rookie future NBA star, face of the franchise, that, hey, you keep doing what you're doing, but we're going to set out this player. We're going to set out that player. We're going to start playing this player a lot more. We're going to do this so that we can force games to lose, because then you're setting a really bad precedent. And I think that us being in a position where we're telling them, end of the season, we're still going to play great basketball. We're still going to coach like we're trying to still make the play-in, and we're going to still try to improve and get better and play better together. I think long run, is going to shed great impacts for the development of our young guys, and then also for the respect of other people in the NBA. Man, it's fighting against the Grizzlies, who's an up and coming team that we're not no pushovers, and it's a respect factor thing. So win as many games as possible, man. Don't lose none of it. If you can go out and end this year undefeated, damn it, do it.
That's it, 100%. You know what's funny? I find when we lose games, right? Magic fans come out of the woodworks to say, trade everyone. Coach mostly sucks. The front office can get it right. Huh? Okay.
What?
But then we win. What are we doing? we're messing up our tanking. We're gonna end up drafting somebody in the 10 range, 8 range. Like, what do we do? You can't win as a Magic fan base right now. Like, everybody's just so disconnected and so in two extremes. Again, so like I said earlier in the episode, we got our two guys, in my opinion, you got to build around, and that is Franz and Paolo. You got guys like Markel, Wendell, Cole Anthony that are great core players to surround them with. We're missing 1, 2, maybe 3 pieces that are not in our roster right now that may, or players that need to take a step forward, like Jalen Suggs, to really make this team great. And again, you're not going to do that by drafting again a number 1 pick. Now, don't get me wrong. If the Magic win the lottery, that would be amazing.
Take it.
But it's not realistic. Again, I don't see us winning the lottery back-to-back years. If it happens, trust me, I'll be celebrating. I'll lose my voice again celebrating. Trust me. But as of right now, man, let things play out. Let these games play out. If the team happens to win and end up in the 11th seed in the East and we end up, drafting 8 and 10, then so be it. But I just don't get the fans that are rooting for us to lose right now. And then those that are rooting for us to win, it's like, it's a huge disconnect. At the end of the day, what we want to see is this team improve, right? We wanted this team in the play-in tournament, right? We just fell a little bit short because of that 5-20 start. But other than that, man, we're playing amazing basketball since December. That's telling you, like you said a few minutes ago, that's telling you that next year, we went up by 11, 12, 13 wins this year over year when it comes to wins. Imagine next year, when we have a healthy team all year, a better Paolo, a better Franz, a better Markel, a better Wendell, and whatever we do, whether it's 2 draft picks, whether it's 1, whether it's a trade that we do, imagine how great this team will be next year. So to your point, let things play out. There's only 6 games left, guys. Enjoy them because this will be a long summer. It'll be April through October. We'll miss watching this team play basketball. Root for them, root for wins, let things play out. In my opinion, we're not going to out-tank the Blazers. We're not going to out-tank maybe even the Pacers. Let's see what happens at this point. That's all we can do.
Yeah, and just to kind of highlight the point that you brought up earlier, yeah, man, we don't need another number 1 pick. If it happens, great, amazing, but we don't need it. Like if you're saying that we have to draft a Victor Wembanyama and a Scoot Henderson, then you really have like no trust in Paolo and Franz. Like I believe in those 2 guys. I am perfectly confident and comfortable with those 2 being our cornerstone. Now it's about fitting the right type of players next to them, and you can fill the roster out with players like that in this draft. This draft, in my opinion, is good enough to where you can still get a very, very solid player, outside of what's considered now your top 3 in Scoot, Wembanyama, and now Brandon Miller. So if the Magic fall out of that, I'm okay with it. Really, because my number 1 guy right now is Grady Dick. That's the guy that I want us to draft. But if we decide not to go that route, you still have players like Jay Howard, Nick Smith. You got the Thompson twins. You got Anthony Black. You got Cam Whitmore. Like there's a lot of really, really, really good players. And it doesn't matter who you end up adding to this team. It's going to be another weapon that the Magic have. Another bullet in their arsenal. Like it's going to make major, major impacts. The real question is going to be, if the Magic pick from Chicago does convey, what are the Magic going to do? And not just what the Magic are going to do, what the hell should they do? Should they draft another rookie? Should they bring in 2 rookies to this team? Or do the Magic take advantage of all the young assets that they have? What if they take that second pick? That's not our pick, man. We're taking it from Chicago. It's not like we're forfeiting any of our future picks. And I don't know, do something crazy, like go after a player like Jaylen Brown, who is very unhappy in Boston, or go after a player like Luka, who's also a very unhappy player in Dallas. Like, is it time for the Magic to do that? Do you believe that if this is really the last draft that the Magic have, and next season is a season to kind of start, making noise in the playoffs, the Magic have a great opportunity where they have 2 draft picks. They also have a future Denver 2025. We own all of our draft picks. I've lost count how many 2nd round picks we have. And from what we've seen in these drafts, Like, these teams love trading for 3, 4, 5 second round picks, and you have young assets. It would be impossible for any one of these teams that are looking to trade their star player, Jaylen Brown, Luka Doncic, Damian Lillard, Trae Young, all these disgruntled players. It would be almost idiotic for these teams not to look at the Orlando Magic and say, I wonder what they're willing to offer for these players. Now, mind you, do I think that the Dallas Mavericks are going to end up trading Luka? No. Do I think that it would be worth trading an arm, a leg, and a couple toes for Luka? I don't know. I'm not there yet. But these are the conversations, in my opinion, may end up happening this offseason.
And that's why you acquire assets. That's why you pile up as much as you can, young talent, draft picks, cap space, for the same purpose. So whenever it's ready for you to maybe utilize, it's there. So to your point, we're playing all these lottery games, right? Like, oh my God, we got to end up with the 5th best odds. Oh my God, what are we doing? At the end of the day, the front office might have already decided. We don't care where we end up. We're going to package his picks or look into possibly trading up, whatever it may be. But they have a vision, right? So you got to, if you really think that if our front office really wanted Brandon Miller, that was their guy. They're like, that guy, we got to have him. They've done it before 2 years in a row. They tanked. They played G League guys. They shut people down when they knew, hey, it's time. They're not doing so. They got a plan, man. They know what they're doing. They have an agenda in place. And I truly believe they're not going to bring 2 rookies next year, two top 10 picks into the team. I just don't see it happening. So it's one of 2 things. They're ready to go trade up. If that guy they really want is gone by the time that they pick, or to your point, there's a lot of rumblings out there about Luka, Jaylen Brown, Trae Young, Damian Lillard. Do the Magic finally say it's enough waiting? We've waited since 2017 for the right opportunity. It's now going to be 2023, 6 years to pull the trigger and finally say enough of waiting. Let's pull the trigger and add talent to this team. It may happen this offseason. We don't know. We got the cap space. We got the picks. We got the young guys. We don't know. I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but if that does happen, I mean, Orlando's going to go crazy. Imagine having Paolo next year, Jaylen Brown in France, or something like that.
It would be nuts. And every single person on the timeline, in social media, in the arena, in life, man, you're going to be hyped for it. You're going to be hyped. And here's the thing that I want people to remember is when it comes to the Magic front office, because I've heard and read all the mixed feelings. You got the people that are for them and the people that are not so for them. I have no idea how people are not for them. It still blows my mind. Like, give these people like a decade contract extension, because if there's one thing about Jeff Weltman and John Hammond that has impressed me so much, is that, man, they are in their own right. They're frugal. Like, they make sure that they don't overspend. Unlike a GM like Rob Hennigan, who gave Bismack Biyombo and DJ Augustin crazy contracts, right? Every single contract that we've had has been in benefit of the Orlando Magic. And every trade that we have partaken in somehow favors us, where you're kind of like, dude, what were the Bulls thinking? The hell was Philadelphia 76ers thinking? Like, how did they, like, what type of voodoo was John Hammond and Jeff Weltman doing? Like, if I could, I would take Jeff Weltman with me to go purchase a car to make sure that I don't make a bad decision in terms of putting myself in a bad financial decision. And I work in the financial industry, and I feel comfortable and confident with John Hammond and Jeff Weltman with me to negotiate, because I think that their level of negotiation is insane and should be applauded. And I'm not sure why they haven't won, any type of front office awards just yet. And you got people like that are, nerds in their own right. Like, they're really savvy and smart and find ways to convince and communicate. You got people like Pat Riley that they're a little more flashy, man. They're the type of people to put the rings on the table and like, hey, this is what I can offer you. Right? We can't do that, but they find a way to make things work for them. So I don't know, man. I think that's the part that I'm really excited about, because we've seen already a really big sample size of what our front office can do. And if the Magic are truly trying to make big moves or big splashes in the offseason, which I don't think they will, but they are going to get to a point where they have to make decisions on this roster. Man, I'm curious to see what they end up doing.
Yeah, man, it's going to be exciting. It's, again, no matter what happens, whether it is that we bring 2 rookies next year, whether we make a trade, whether we trade up, it's going to be a hell of an offseason. We've had some really fun off seasons as of recent, right? We had the Paolo Banchero draft. We've had Franz and Jalen Suggs getting drafted. Even the Cole Anthony draft was a fun one because we didn't know how it was going to play out. And we were all happy when we ended up with Cole Anthony. But this is going to be the best one yet, in my opinion, because we know how much better this team is today and how much better it will be next year. Again, my only hope is, man, that we stay healthy these last 6 games. All of the guys that need to be healthy. Because if we have a full offseason of Paolo just shooting threes, Franz getting stronger, Markel's knee even better next year, I'm going to say it. J.I. coming back, hopefully somewhat healthy next year. As a bench player, not as a starter anymore in my mind. But we got potential, man. We got potential to do some good stuff this offseason. So if you're a Magic fan, man, just enjoy it, root for your team, and go from there. That's all we can do at this point. But I have the full trust in this front office making the right decisions, to your point.
Yeah, a lot to be excited for. So we'll see what they end up doing. The crazy thing is, again, I feel like this season came and flew by already towards the end. All these questions of the not knowing, like we're gonna find out like very, very soon. The season is damn near done. So we'll end up seeing. Now, with the season being done, the big question that everyone wants to know is Rookie of the Year race. It's not even like a big question that everyone wants to know, man. Like we already know. It's crazy how only us in Orlando are like sure shots, right? Well, we're not paying attention to the race because there's not a race. I'm not sure where this OKC fan base. Like I always feel like there's a fan base that we end up fighting with at some point. Like it just never, it doesn't stop. The Rockets, the Raptors, now I feel like it's OKC because they're really passionate about Jalen Williams. But yes, somehow, some way, there's an NBA narrative where Jalen Williams is on the cusp of catching up to or even surpassing Paolo Banchero. I don't know, bro. I'm just here giving you information that I see on the internet, man. That's what I'm doing. Somehow people believe that a late stretch of good basketball play is sufficient enough to surpass a whole entire season's worth of amazing basketball from Paolo Banchero. Like I don't. Is there even more of a sure shot of Paolo Banchero winning Rookie of the Year than it is now? A part of me really hopes that Vegas ends up picking up on this narrative and finds a way to like really believe that Jalen has a shot of beating Paolo Banchero, so I can put like my whole entire house on it. Because there's no way that Paolo Banchero is going to lose Rookie of the Year. And if Paolo does lose, then there's an issue, man. There's a problem. Like, yeah, and the debate is statistics of efficiency and blah and blah and blah and blah. Like I don't understand, man. So I don't understand, but I do understand because the NBA is about narratives.
Yep.
Like the NBA is one big male soap opera where there's nonstop drama happening all season long. And it's being fueled by social media. It's being fueled by, TV. It's being fueled by, conversations. It's being fueled by a magnitude of different things. And right now I feel like it's kind of silent, outside of the frustrations from coming out of Dallas and Boston. You have the debate of Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic. You got Jaylen Brown not happy. You got Kyrie Irving not happy. You got Luka not happy. You got a whole bunch of people not happy. But let's pick on the Rookie of the Year and let's just say that Jalen Williams is catching up to, Paolo Banchero. It doesn't make sense.
So I'll tell you why, man. The first time I heard of this, I was on the cruise, chilling, hanging out. I hop on Twitter and I start seeing this topics coming up about how Paolo may not win Rookie of the Year. And my reaction is the same today. What race? What are we talking about here? And I think it was Bill Simmons that said it best. People are just taking Paolo for granted so much that they're just bored. They're like, it's not even a competition, so let's create some drama around this. Like, Jalen Williams played well the last 6 weeks. He should be in the discussion. The same way that they said that Kessler from Utah should be in the running for Rookie of the Year. Before that, it was Mathurin from Indiana. Like, they're trying to create a narrative with whoever rookie's playing the best in that moment against Paolo. But the reality is, man, none of them stack up to Paolo. Reason being, Paolo is the number one option on this team. He's the number one player in the scouting report of every team when they come to Orlando to play us or when we go visit them on their home court. Paolo is our star, our go-to guy, the one that has helped us truly win plus 10 games so far this season. I'm sorry. Jalen Williams is amazing. He's not the best player in OKC.
Dude, they're utilizing advanced statistics.
Awesome.
To be able to debate this.
And I will tell you what. And let me answer that question right there. Do you know what that is? Because they're also focused on guarding SGA. They're so focused on guarding all the players that.
But then you have people that are debating. Well, he's able to still be efficient and still produce while SGA isn't playing. And here's the thing that's a little frustrating. JJ Redick is one of the people that are fighting for Jalen Williams, where he talks about making a case for Jalen Williams to win Rookie of the Year. My man, you played for the Magic and Duke. Like, what? Why are we pushing that narrative?
He just had Paolo in his podcast. And I'm sorry, JJ, like I love his podcast. I listen to it every week.
Don't go back.
I think JJ's buying into this whole ESPN narrative. Like, hey, if we create this little hot topics, I'm gonna get more views. Politics, he swore he wasn't gonna become that person. But this topic right here makes me 100% believe that he is falling into that. Because again, look at the stats. Just 3 important stats of every player that you've ever considered for any awards: points, assists, and rebounds. Paolo is better in every single one of them. 19.9 points to 14 points. Assists, 3.7 to 3.3. Rebounds, 6.8 to 4.5. Is Jalen Williams shooting it better from the field? True. Is he shooting it better from three-point range? Yeah, he is. And I'll give you all the advanced stats to him, whatever. Great. The point is, man, one is run the face of a franchise. The other one is a third, fourth option on a good night when SJ is playing. So again, I'm not going to even entertain the topic anymore, to be honest with you, because it's frustrating. And at the end of the day, come April 16th, whatever it is that we get the awards handed out, Paolo will be the name being called. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Dude, in OKC, I don't even think Jalen Williams is even talked about if, Chet Holmgren is playing for them. You know what I mean? You put Chet Holmgren on the Magic, and I still think Paolo Banchero outshines him. Like, I think that's just the level of impact that Paolo Banchero is. The argument that a lot of people are also having is, looking past this season, Paolo Banchero, we think that he's hit his ceiling already. How the hell does a 20-year-old rookie year hit his ceiling already? And that's the thing. You're absolutely right. People are taking for granted how great of basketball he's playing. And I'm not speaking from a biased standpoint. I'm speaking from the fact, like, this dude is playing great. I'm almost at the point where I feel confident in saying, and this might be a hot take, Victor Wembanyama comes out. I don't think he has a better season than Paolo Banchero.
I agree with you.
I don't. I honestly, I can't. Maybe later on, maybe 2, 3, 5, 7 years later on. But right now, after the rookie year, like there's just no way. And I don't know. I don't understand why. And people are utilizing, well, OKC, they're in the playoff, so the Magic aren't. But dude, that's not enough, man. It's not rookie of the best team of the year. It's rookie of the year, man. It's an individual award based on individual performance, and the individual that deserves it is Paolo Banchero. Point blank. Simple as that.
It's as simple as that. Like I said, a great season by Jalen Williams. Fan of his game. I like what he's doing in OKC, but to say that he is better or had a better season than Paolo, when we're talking about October through April, not talking about February through March, the whole season, you can't even begin to compare it. Like I said, the stats speak for themselves. He's a little more efficient. Congratulations. Enjoy those statistics. When it comes to actually playing basketball and being a better player one-on-one, he's not better than Paolo. It's as simple as that.
No, there's no way. And plus, man, Paolo got like A1 marketing right now. Like the Huevos Banchero is amazing marketing. If you haven't seen, man, my guy got his own PE with Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum's signature shoe that he has out right now with Jordan, and they're called Huevos Bancheros. And the Magic is already marketing T-shirts for it that I somehow need to find a way to get my hands on it.
Yes,
I need to get my hands on the shoes, like A1 marketing. And we're not touching any of that, because is there any other rookie that got that much hype in terms of marketing, commercials,
season one?
PEs from this season?
Oh, from this season? No, hell no. From this season, not even. No.
It's crazy.
No,
it's crazy. But
Jabari Smith? No, I'm kidding.
Jabari Smith. Hey man, your boy hit a game winner the other day. It was a nice game winner.
Yeah. I still have faith in him and Jalen Green eventually becoming good.
I'm honestly surprised that you're not a Rockets fan at this point, because Jalen Green and Jabari Smith, you root for these players that end up getting drafted by the Rockets.
I like Brandon Miller coming in the draft. He's going to end up in Houston. Watch.
Guaranteed he's being drafted by the Rockets. Brandon Miller to Houston. Guaranteed that's happening. 100%. Whoever it is that you want ends up getting drafted by the Rockets. Man, what are some other news? RJ Hampton, he admitted that he has a burner account, because I can't remember the exact quote, but if no one else is going to stand up for him, then who else is going to do it but him, right? So those of y'all that have talked smack about RJ Hampton, if you ever had a moment where someone that had stood up for RJ Hampton when nobody else did, there's a 9 out of 10 chance that it was RJ.
You know who has a burner account? I think I know who it is. Mo Bamba. There's this one guy on Twitter. I can't think of the handle right now. You cannot mention the name Mo Bamba without calling you a hater, calling you Mo Bamba's the best thing ever. We made a mistake. He's better than Wendell. Hasn't stopped. He's been traded now. Still going. I posted a tweet around, I think Goga's better than Mo Bamba or something like that. And this dude still replies to that and saying, oh, you're a hater. So Mo Bamba, I'm on to you.
But honestly, let's be real, man. If I'm an NBA player, I would have a burner too, and I would respond to everybody.
Oh yeah,
it's the most human nature thing to do.
I mean, KD's got one, so that tells you everything.
Yeah. If he's got one, everyone else got one. There's no way. Even those NBA players that they don't have any social media, like nothing. Yeah, right. You're in there.
They got it.
Yeah, I mean, we who was it? I think Stanley and Bryce were talking about the other day on the Spaces that they believe that there was a burner in the Spaces at one point. So, reminder to either care about being careful with what you say or don't care at all, and it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, this age of social media, man, people just they're always looking. They care about it. Wasn't it Steph too that used to say that back when he was younger? He would go on halftime and look at like Twitter. People are saying about him. So again, if KD is doing it, if Steph's doing it, Charlie Villanueva used to do it back in the days when Twitter first started coming out and becoming a thing. They all do it, man. Like it's common sense.
Media, man.
It's common sense. I mean, we all do it as human beings that we are. We care about what our fans say about our podcast, our stuff that we put out. Imagine the players, man, that they know. So
do you have a burner?
I don't, believe it or not. I have mine and I have the podcast or the HQ now that we have on Twitter. That's it, bro. Like I've never had one, but if I was to that level, like I was an NBA player, I would have one. Why not?
Yeah, I don't have a burner, but there is.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't have one. But there is someone else on our YouTube that his name is also Anthony Velez, which is my name, and he comments every now and then. I'm just kind of like, what? Is someone pranking me? Am I getting punked?
I've seen that too, and I'm like, it's like you, but it's a different picture. Like,
no, it's not me. Be careful where else you post, man, because people might think it's me. We don't want that type of problem. Now, so the cool thing about RJ Hampton, man, is that he is he is brutally honest, and he doesn't care. And I think that that's the one genuine thing that you end up loving about a player. He was recently on, the podcast that he has with Fubo TV. Fubo? Fobo. Fuba.
Fubo? I think it's Fubo.
Fabu. It's not Fubu. It's
that.
Fabu. Something like that, man. And he had some of the guests from the Orlando Magic. He's had Cole Anthony, he's had Paolo Banchero. Recently, he had Wendell Carter Jr. One of the things that they discussed was who's the biggest trash talker on the team. And surprisingly, not surprising, it was Mo Wagner, which I couldn't agree more.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the things that they talked about is Mo Wagner is the type of player that you hate on the opposite team, but you love the fact that he plays for your team. And as a fan perspective, I couldn't agree with that more. Just because some of the things that he does is kind of like crazy shenanigans, man. Like from Detroit and whatever happened there to going at it with Luka Doncic to getting hit in the nuts by Al Horford. He just has his way of getting under people's skin, and I absolutely love it. It's like almost Pat Beverly annoying, but not at that level just yet. And if he was on the opposite team, I would hate Mo Wagner.
Oh yeah,
I would absolutely dislike him as a player, 100%. And the fact that he plays for us, man, I hope that he's with the Orlando Magic for a really, really long time. Because if there's one thing that you really can't teach is you can't teach the dog aspect. And I feel like Mo Wagner, he has that type of swagger. Like he doesn't. And what's crazy is that Mo and Franz are like complete opposites when it comes to that. I can't really think of a moment where Mo Wagner has got into anything and like Franz was like there to kind of back him up and ready to throw blows. Also, which is fine, man. That's a golden boy. You make sure you protect him at all costs. But man, imagine if Franz had that type of attitude, that type of swagger.
But it's funny. I feel like I've seen him more this year, lately, especially. He's letting it out sometimes. A big dunk or a big N1. He lets it out here and there. He's not a trash talker, I think, but he's getting into it with refs a little more now. It's kind of starting to come out. They're just very different. But the fire that he plays with, it's just a silent, kind of quiet demeanor. But it does come out once in a while, and you'll have to see it. Because I'm like, oh, there we go. There's that German side of him coming out.
Still dangerous, man, for sure.
Oh yeah.
All right. So Luka, we touched base a little bit on the rumors about Luka. Jaylen Brown, we touched base on that. Between the two players, who would be that one player that you feel would fit best with the Magic? And would it be worth the haul that the Orlando Magic would have to give up?
So thinking of how much the player would cost, I think that if I was the GM, I would go after Jaylen Brown better. I think that he fits better what the Magic are doing. I love Luka, but he is very ball dominant. So all of a sudden now Paolo's going to have the ball a lot less. Franz, maybe if he stays on the team, is going to have the ball a lot less. I think Jaylen Brown is a more natural fit to what we're doing. Also, I believe, maybe I'm wrong, it's going to cost a lot less. I think you throw a bunch of picks, you throw a big salary like Gary Harris, plus a maybe Jalen Suggs, maybe I don't even know. I don't know what it would cost, but at the end of the day, it'll be less than Luka for sure. So for that reason, I think Jaylen Brown is worth looking at more than Luka on a realistic level. It's more realistic for us to acquire him. And again, I think he can be more of a fit-in piece in our team more than Luka would. Although Luka is generational, he is an incredible talent. To your point, I don't think the Mavericks are going to trade him. And if they do, you're going to have to give up all of it. All the picks you own, all the young talent you think you have. That may be Franz or Paolo in that deal some way, somehow, because why would they trade an MVP candidate age 22 for anything less than that? So for that reason, in my opinion, go after Jaylen Brown if you can. Maybe even Lillard, if he's available. That may be a guy that may be interesting to see if you can take him out of Portland. But again, Luka would be way too much in my opinion. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, the difference between them is that you really can't see Jaylen Brown as an MVP caliber type of player, right? He reminds me of maybe a career trajectory of like a Jimmy Butler, like someone that is going to be a great player. May not always get all-star, nominations every year, but you know that he's going to be able to lead the team. I personally would not trade for Jaylen Brown just because he is after next season, he'll be an unrestricted free agent. So you really don't know where you're going to end up getting there unless it's a sign and trade, which I don't see happening. I think Boston ends up somehow figuring out like how do you even, I know that there's been the some of the biggest issues from Boston is the fact that I guess Jason Tatum was trying to lobby getting Kevin Durant in Boston. Is kind of like, well, to get Kevin Durant, who else are you really going to give up?
Yep.
Like Marcus Smart isn't going to get you there. Like it has to be Jaylen Brown. So there's already friction. There's already a lot of talks about how players don't feel like Boston is the best place for them with the racism that they experience there and whatnot.
Yeah.
But nah, man, just wait it out. And I think that I really hope that the Magic, if I'm being honest, I'm okay with the Magic not swinging big, like in a trade aspect where they have to give up a majority of their team. Yep. I think that the team has a great nucleus. I think that they love playing with one another. I think that will impact like their relationship. The fact that they're getting better every year, adds to that. I know that the Magic will have to make decisions, but a big major one, man, I hope that the Magic just go the free agency route and try to convince players to play in Orlando. And I think that the Magic have the capability to be heavy hitters in free agency. But to me, there's no reason to. If you really want Luka, then you hold out another 4 or 5 years when his contract is up to try to convince him, and maybe we still have Jamal Mosley, maybe we don't, depending on how that ends up playing out. But nah, man, don't trade for neither one of them. Play it out, let your guys develop, free agency, draft, and I think the Magic will be in a good position that way.
So what I'm gathering is you're saying don't go after Luka, don't go after Jaylen Brown, go after Fred VanVleet in free agency.
Gotcha. I did not say that, bro. I did not say that. You didn't hear what I said earlier in the beginning of the podcast, Markel, Cole Anthony? Nah, I'm good. I'm good with Fred. No.
The only reason why I would entertain Jaylen Brown too is you're weakening the Celtics. And that's one of the top teams in the East. So ideally, we're going to leapfrog a bunch of teams next season. Celtics come down a little bit. Now you're competing with them a little more. That's the only thing. Dallas in the West doesn't impact what we're doing in the East side. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. To your point, I don't think it's time for us yet. But something you said to us in the chat the other day was, would you want to see the Magic being mentioned in this trade rumors? You want to see the Magic getting maybe a meeting with a Luka or Jaylen Brown?
100%.
For sure. You may not get them, 100%. But at least get in that room and say, hey, this is why you should come to us. And hey, see what happens at that point.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't try and trade for them. I just don't think that you need to give up the whole farm for them.
Agree.
But if somehow the Jeff Wellman's able to do his black magic and somehow able to get a steal, then by all means make it happen. But that's the hard part is, man, you fall in love with these players, man. Like, imagine a team now where you don't have Wendell, you don't have Jalen Suggs, you don't have Cole Anthony because you gave up a large portion to get a player that isn't necessarily loyal to the Orlando Magic. They weren't bred by the Magic, So I don't know. It's a tough decision, but don't give up the whole farm for it. It's the way that I see it.
I agree.
And then the Magic, man, they ended up signing a 2-way contract with Jay Scrubb for the next 2 years. Jay Scrubb is your guy. This is someone that you've been saying from the very, very beginning that you wish that the Magic would sign him to a 2-way. How happy are you about Jay Scrubb?
I mean, he's a scorer, right? And I think that's my thing. If you're going to sign people to 2-way contracts, I just need them to score the ball. I don't want him to be a rebounder. I don't want him to be a guy that can just
get buckets.
Just give me a guy that can score. So if Jalen Suggs gets hurt, whoever it is, and you got to play them, they can score 10 points. It reminds me a little bit of my other guy that I used to love a lot. What's his name? Johnson? BJ Johnson. Dude came in LA that time, and we won that crazy game. Markel had a triple-double. Dude had like 12 points in like 15 minutes. That's what we need. a guy to get called up once in a blue moon and give us 8, 10, 12 points when we need him. So I think Jay Scrubb has the potential. He played for the Clippers most of last year, so he was in the NBA, so he's got talent. He's averaging 22.8, 5 rebounds, 2 assists in the G League right now, 6'5", shooting guard. I think he fits the mold. Only thing that's interesting to me is Kevon Harris, Jay Scrubb, same position, same height. You might have to decide who you want to keep between the two of them. Jay Scrubb signed a 2-way contract for 2 years, which is interesting. So that would mean that he will be on the contract for next year. So keep an eye on that as to who we decide to keep between Kevon Harris and Jay Scrubb. But I do like the signing. How about you?
I'm indifferent. I'm at the point where, I mean, are we really going to see it? Like, I expect to see him and a few others that haven't had some playing time play towards the end of the season. That's just how the NBA is, you know. Offensively, we know that's where his where their strength is. But if you're telling me to choose between him and Kevon Harris, I'm going Kevon, man. Kevon's a dog, and I love everything that he brings. So I don't know, man. It's a 2-way. I've always said that I've never really liked the way that we utilize our 2-ways. I feel like our 2-way should be more utilized to really develop players, man. Like really develop. Like we did that. I felt like we were going in that direction with what's his name? Mane. What's his name?
Mane, yep.
His first name?
Karim
Mane. Like I felt like that's what the Magic were trying to do. But that was short-lived. But I really like Kevon Harris, and I think that, you know, if the Magic were more of a sure shot play-in team or play-in playoff team, then yeah, you want to be able to have those players that are able to impact right away. But I think that, you know, the development piece is what I think the 2-way players should be utilized for.
I agree. I think the issue with Mane was when we signed him, we were a playoff team. So we didn't really need him. It was more like develop, go to Lakeland, do your thing. But then Markelle got hurt. Then all the trades happened. Yeah. We're like, all right, all of a sudden we shifted what our need was. I think if next year we're a great team again, and we have really playoff hopes, you may see us picking up some random young guy that we're like, all right, they may have some potential that we can put him in Lakeland for a year, see what they got. But right now we're developing people. So we need everyone that gets signed to try to contribute and get minutes to see what we got in them.
Yeah, man. 6 games left. Tonight against Washington, Sunday Detroit, Tuesday Cleveland, Thursday Cleveland. This closes out strong, man. Try to win as many games as possible. I'm expecting for us to still compete. We'll see how this season ends up being. By the time we record our next episode, man, there'll only be, 2 games after that?
Games left.
And that's it. On that note, man, I appreciate you guys for listening. Make sure to check out the article that we have on OrlandoMagicHQ.com. Again, Luke did an amazing job interviewing MCW. Those of you that would like to be a part of a show, man, our guys Bryce and Stanley, they do an amazing job with our spaces. That spaces occurs after every single game. They do a great job being consistent with it, and we have a really great community out there. You do not need to have a Twitter to join these Twitter spaces. They're also recorded, so you're able to get more. If you're looking for more episodes than just one, you want to hear more of, you know, the post game, what people are saying, if they're feeling the same way that you're feeling, man, these spaces are amazing and great for. Make sure you check that out. And on that note, man, it's a wrap. Appreciate you guys for listening. We will catch y'all next week.
For all the latest Magic news and updates, visit OrlandoMagicHQ.com and follow us on Instagram at OrlandoMagicHQ and on Twitter at OMagicHQ. Also, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and subscribe and leave a 5-star review on your favorite listening platform.